Dr. Zixathala pressed all four of her primary manipulator appendages against her cranial cavity, a gesture that roughly translated to a human, rubbing their temples in frustration. The Galactic Medical Council's emergency session had been in progress for 3 standard cycles, and the xenobiologist was no closer to understanding the impossible creature strapped to the examination table before her. Patient exhibits impossible physiological contradictions, she dictated to her recording device, her translator struggling with the emotional undertones in her native Kepler 442b dialect. Subject claims to be a human from a planet called Earth in the Sol system. The human, if that's what it truly was, remained conscious despite having been subjected to enough tranquilizer to sedate a Rigelian battle beast. It watched her with those peculiar forward-facing predator eyes, occasionally making what it called jokes about the situation. "You know, Doc," the human said, his voice carrying an unsettling note of casual amusement. "Back home, we'd call this a Tuesday." Zixthala's secondary heart skipped in synchronized terror. A Tuesday? What kind of death world spawned creatures that considered medical torture a mundane weekly occurrence? She consulted her notes again, hoping to find some logical explanation for the anomalies. The human had been brought in after what should have been a fatal shuttle crash. The wreckage had been scattered across 3 kilometers of the station's outer hull, yet somehow this being had walked away with what he dismissed as just a few scratches. Subject's skeletal structure is composed primarily of calcium phosphate, she continued her report, yet demonstrates tensile strength exceeding military-grade ceramic composites. Muscular tissue appears to operate on a redundant system architecture that defies conventional biological efficiency models. The human actually stretched while restrained to a medical table, and several of his joints made audible popping sounds. Every medical professional in the room flinched. "Oh, that felt good." The human sighed contentedly. "Been sitting in that shuttle for 6 hours. Really needed to crack my back." Dr. Vorthak, the Centaurian neurologist, leaned forward with his scanner extended. "Impossible. His neural activity indicates he's experiencing pleasure from deliberately damaging his skeletal joints." "Not damaging," the human corrected cheerfully. "Just releasing built-up gas bubbles in the synovial fluid. It's like popping bubble wrap, but internal." The medical team exchanged horrified glances. This creature casually described internal biological processes that would constitute torture methods for most species. Zixthala forced herself to continue the examination. She activated the atmospheric analyzer, expecting to find exotic gas, requirements or environmental dependencies that might explain the human's impossible resilience. Atmospheric requirements: 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen, 1% trace gases, she read from her scanner. Temperature tolerance? She paused, recalibrating the device 3 times. "This cannot be correct." "What's wrong, Doc?" the human asked. "Your thermal tolerance range spans 40 degrees Celsius. Most sapient species require environmental controls within 3-degree margins for survival. And you're currently comfortable at a temperature that should be inducing hypothermic shock." The human shrugged. Another disturbing motion that involved voluntary skeletal displacement. "I'm from Minnesota originally. This is actually pretty warm for me." Dr. Kethvar, the toxicology specialist, approached with a bioscanner. "Perhaps we should examine his digestive chemistry. Most death world adaptations manifest in poison resistance." The scanner beeped ominously as it analyzed the human's last meal. "He's consumed ethyl alcohol for recreational purposes." Kethvar's voice cracked. "This substance is used as industrial solvent and rocket fuel. He drank it, voluntarily." "Just a couple of beers with dinner," the human explained. "Nothing fancy, though I did try that Altarian whiskey someone brought to the station. That stuff could strip paint, but it went down smooth." "He's describing the consumption of multiple toxic substances as smooth," whispered Dr. Yilthan, the station's chief psychiatrist. "His brain chemistry shows adaptation to regular neurological toxin exposure." Zixthala felt her tertiary stomach churning. What manner of evolutionary pressure could possibly produce such adaptations? Well, the human said thoughtfully, Earth's pretty rough. Gravity's about 3 times what you've got here. The weather tries to kill you regularly. Most of the wildlife is either venomous or has really big teeth. And the plants figured out how to make themselves poisonous just to spite us. And your species thrived in this environment? Oh, we didn't just thrive. We took over the whole planet. Then we got bored and decided to domesticate some of the wildlife that was trying to eat us. Ever hear of dogs? We turned wolves into purse accessories. Cats domesticated themselves because they realized we were useful for opening food containers. Dr. Vorthak's scanner was practically screaming alarms. His cardiovascular system has 4 distinct redundancy pathways. If 75% of his circulatory system were destroyed, he could theoretically survive long enough to seek medical attention. That's handy. The human nodded approvingly. Evolution's pretty smart like that. Evolution doesn't work that way. Zixthala snapped, her professional composure finally cracking. Biological systems optimize for efficiency, not for surviving catastrophic systematic failure. Tell that to my appendix, the human chuckled. Useless little thing almost killed me when I was 12, had to have it cut out. Still got the scar. The medical team stared in horrified silence. You surgically removed part of your digestive system. As a juvenile? Dr. Kethvar whispered. Sure. Pretty routine procedure. I was back to playing sports in 2 weeks. Zixthala's recording device finally overloaded and shut down with a small puff of smoke. She stared at the human for a long moment, then began unfastening the restraints. What are you doing? Dr. Vorthak demanded. Releasing him, she replied wearily. There's nothing wrong with human physiology. The problem is with our understanding of what constitutes normal. Biology. The human sat up, rubbing his wrists where the restraints had been. Thanks, Doc. This was fun, but I've got a cargo run to make. The Beetlejuice colonies are paying premium rates for Earth coffee. Coffee? Zixthala asked weakly. Caffeinated, plant extract, mild stimulant. Most humans drink it daily. The human paused at the door. Oh, and Doc? You might want to update your medical databases. If you think I'm weird, wait until you meet a marathon runner. As the human disappeared down the corridor, whistling something he called classic rock, Dr. Zixthala slumped into her chair and reached for her emergency stress medication. Somewhere in the galaxy, humanity continued to exist in blissful ignorance of just how terrifying they truly were.